What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the LA Soccer Hub Show. My name is Diego Garcia, and today's Tuesday. And Tuesday, we talk black and gold. We talk LAFC. They're on a 2-game winning streak. They've been off for a couple days now. You got the Gold Cup going on. You got Copa America. You got the Euros that just finished up. So I got a lot of special guests here. So let me introduce them. For the first time ever, we got LAFC Hawaii. LAFC Hawaii, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
Hey, pleasure to have you on. We have Back in Black. How you doing, my brother?
Excited to be here.
And once again, we got Josue Lopez. Josue, how you doing?
Thank you for having me. And as I promised, I brought my Mexico jersey. This one is the one from the World Cup 2002.
Oh, nice.
Good memories. Waking up, it was when we will wake up in like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty similar scenario with what's going to happen during these Olympics in Tokyo. And of course, when Mexico was eliminated by the U.S.
Yeah.
Nice. Funny
thing you mentioned that was my first World Cup actually watching up. I remember my dad waking me up around like 4 or 5 in the morning just to watch some of the games. But I mean that's what brings us as sport together. So I want to talk about Copa America. I want to talk about the Euros. I know I talked about it yesterday, but I want to get your thoughts. Hawaii, I want to get your thoughts. What do you think about? Let's go with Copa America.
I was excited to see Messi, get his trophy. I watched just a few of the matches. I'm more of a Euro fan, but I enjoyed it. It was always good to see someone of his caliber get the trophy that they deserve. That's how I thought about it.
Yeah, and what are your thoughts about Italy winning the Euros?
That's what I picked. Well, let me rephrase. I picked.
He's like, I picked them as soon as they got to the final. That's
no. That's black. So we had our team and then the underdog, and so our long shot. So I picked France, and then I picked Italy for my long shot. And so I was happy, man. I was look, I'm a Serie A fan, right? So. I've supported Juve for a long time, and it was good for me to see them pull it through. I thought that they played more like a team than anyone else out of either one of the conferences, right? Like they had like a family feel to everything that they did on the pitch, and I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it was amazing. Back in Black, what were your thoughts on Copa America and the Euros?
Well, as a Brazil fan, you can only imagine mixed feelings there at the finals. I thought Argentina played a better tournament and deserved to win, which is hard for a Brazilian to say.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they had a more complete team, and quite a few people said, they were hungrier. They wanted more. They wanted to win it for Messi. And as a football fan, no matter what opinions you have of him or of the team, you want to see things like that. You want to see these streaks get broken and people kind of reach redemption. So I thought it was special in that regards. I didn't like the quality of the final. I thought it was a weak game, and Brazil kind of gave it away, to be very honest. And then it became that very stuck game that it was really hard to penetrate their defense with 8-9 back. So there was very few moments of action, really, other than the time that Messi missed the goal.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, it was sort of the lost theme there, and how non-clutch he's been. And
look, coming from a Brazilian, I did not expect anything else. I did not. Yeah. So this picture must hurt you then. When I put this picture up here of Messi kissing the Copa America.
When Neymar went out there and said, "Hey, this is the best that I've seen play and win," and it is like contemporary. I don't think anybody gets close, and that's when the conversation gets dicey, because when you compare it with some other people from other times, I don't put him up there. But right now, the way he plays, the way he distributes, the way he changes the cadence and the mentality of the opponent, he's the number one, undisputed, right? But there's another guy on the other side named Casemiro, which always marks him really, really well at Real Madrid. So, it was expected for him to be canceled, right? But again, the final was really not that great. And by the way, the Euro really was another thing. I really enjoyed watching the Euros better than Copa America.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And then they had fans, and I saw some crazy videos of fans breaking into the stadium without tickets, which was just insane. Josue, you're wearing the Mexico jersey. Let's talk about Mexico. We know what happened. Poor refereeing led to. I think I think Funes Mori talked about it led to the fans provoking them to say the P chant, which is unfortunate. I think CONCACAF and Mexico came out yesterday saying that they were thinking about not having any fans, but that's not going to hold true for tomorrow. Well, what are your thoughts on what happened in the game?
I love that name, the patient. That's a good way to say it. I actually was at the press conference today prior to the game between Mexico and Guatemala, and it is so unfortunate that 70% of the questions are related to that chant that is taking place. Like, if you come to someone's houses, you have to play by their rules, and if the rule is to not say that chant, well, you don't say it, because it's gonna affect Mexico in the future. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. But on the soccer perspective, Mexico created many opportunities against Trinidad and Tobago, but unfortunately they were not very efficient at them. And the absence of Chucky Lozano, given the level of the Gold Cup, with all due respect, I don't know if it's going to make a big difference. However, Tata Martino said it today. They don't have a number 9. Pulido is not there yet. We know where the number 9 is. He plays in Carson, but it's not an option. And if the Olympics were not taking place, they might have Henry Martin or Macias if he was playing any better. But it's a crisis in the team. But I don't think it's going to affect the outcome of the tournament, which is most likely Mexico going to the final. Maybe in the semifinal there will be some opposition.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look good. I mean, Mexico ended up tying 1-1 against Trinidad and Tobago. And that's the best I've ever seen them play. Obviously, I know the refereeing. The thing of this is
0-0.
Yeah. Well, it felt like a loss. Let's be honest. It felt like a loss when Mexico played. The thing that I've noticed something about the MLS and CONCACAF is like the level of play has gotten better. Like the players are gotten better, the coaching has gotten better, but the refereeing, unfortunately, just has stayed the same or gotten worse. And I think they need to invest more money. I know this is a topic for another time, but it's just like you see the Nation League's final. There were some questionable calls, and then you see how Mexico, which is one of the biggest teams in this Gold Cup, and they don't even have VAR. It just makes me wonder, like how, they're just putting this tournament together too fast and not really putting in the time. Getting more referees, investing in the VAR, and it just takes away from the game. And I think that's what happened when we played at Tobago, but. That's what it is. We'll have to see. I think all we can do right now as fans is just complain, and hopefully the product gets better on the referee side, because we know the player standard has gone there. I mean, Mexico sells tickets, the U.S. sells tickets, and I think you got to take care of those players. Chucky Lozano, one of the best players, it's not going to be in the Gold Cup. He's going to be out 4 to 6 months. So it's unfortunate. I think it's unfortunate for the tournament and everything going on, but we'll have to see. So,
the attendance for other teams has been really good in the past. I didn't know that. And what's disappointing this year is that you see empty stadiums everywhere, and in states that they're allowed to have full capacity. So I'm curious what some of the decisions that led to held some of these games where they're being held right now, because there's the same very game, Canada Martinique Rose Bowl 2 years ago, 65,000 fans, and if you saw the Canada game, there were 27 souls in that stadium. So I don't understand the decision making there from the planning standpoint, including the venues that were selected, how much travel there is involved.
Yeah, I think what happened for that, is like at the time when they announced the schedule, California wasn't open yet, and I don't think California, there was like legal stuff, and that's why they all did them in Texas. Pretty much, you see Texas and maybe another state I may be missing,
and then Illinois.
Yeah. So like those were the states that were open, so that's why they had in. That's why California, because typically it's in California, like the final in California, and they're like, it's not just a big Mexican fan base. You got Guatemalans, you got big Salvadoran community here. So anytime they play here, they play at the Bank California, it just sells out. But I think that's what kind of led to it. And I think maybe they had to book the venues in advance for such a big tournament, and it's kind of hurting them, unfortunately, because that's what I noticed. A lot of people, there's so many empty venues, but I think that's what happens when the year that we had, and it's unfortunate of that venues are being empty.
And you know what else? Sorry for interrupting. Yeah, the Copa America level wasn't that great. I agree with what everyone has said, but maybe it has to do because of the lack of fans. Because in South America, what makes soccer or football so special are fans. The passion that they take it to another level. It's like a religion, and the absence of them might have affect the level of soccer somehow.
Yeah, it did mine. I was not as excited. There was a lot of controversy behind the tournament as well, political controversy. The coach may not have coached, 3 days before the tournament, you having a coaching change talk.
Mhm.
So, it was a weird tournament to live through, if you know what Brazil's going through politically. And but it has to be played, and they played it. And the outcome was exactly what I thought it was going to be, wishy-washy and outshadowed by the other tournament. And by the way, as an American, I love having the summer filled with soccer. So it was great to have those two tournaments going at the same time, being able to watch all these games. So, no complaints from me because we got to watch a ton of good games, and I love it.
Back to back. So now now the MLS is kicking back up again. The Gold Cup's going to be, so that's going to be intertwined. LAFC Hawaii. Let's talk about this LAFC victory. They ended up beating Austin FC 2-0. It was a great game. We got goals from Jose Cifuentes. We got goals from obviously Diego Rossi. But going into this game, it wasn't going to be an easy game. But what were your thoughts going into this game facing Austin?
No, it wasn't going to be an easy game, but we've been seeing some promising stuff from Moon and from Farfan and Bob changing up the formation to the 3-5-2. So we had been feeling a little confident. Beginning of the year, we were a lot questioning Bob on him changing up the formation if we were only stuck in the 4-3-3. And then we had got to see him moving away from that a little bit. And so then the question was, is he going to make weird moves during the halftime? And in the last two games he didn't. So we were all very okay, maybe Bob is getting us a little bit. Maybe he sees that the 3-5-2 is good for us, or as he calls it, the 3-4-1-2. I think we all felt really good about it. And knowing that Mac wasn't going to be there and Sifu was going to be in the starting also sort of gave us a little bit of a boost to say, okay, listen, these are the people that we've been asking to see on the pitch. Austin had a sold-out crowd, and it was going to be loud, and they just had to come off of a 4-0 victory. And so, it made us think, okay, well, it's going to be a hard-fought game, but our boys are looking like they're up to the challenge. So I was happy with what I've seen from them.
Yeah, if we look at the lineup right there, obviously, you have Tomas Romero who's been great and has looked fantastic. Obviously, Kim Muan, Eddie Segura, Jesus Murillo, Farfan. Edwards, I think, was the one that I think might have surprised everybody. He looks like he may be a utility piece. He's being used on the offense and the defense, and sometimes I believe in the midfield. Yeah, Blessing, Cifuentes, Atuesta, and obviously Rossi and Vela up top.
And Edwards, a lot of people were like, okay, what is he going to do? Is he really trying to be like the Blessing now, our utility guy? And I think he had a great game. He has some speed. He made good runs. He moved up when he needed to. And I was happy with what I seen from him. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Edwards really surprised a lot of people the way he was just he's a player that obviously none of us have been able to watch enough, but just seeing that game is like, okay, he will do anything to stay on the field, right? He will literally do anything to stay on the field. And I think that's what I like from him for his game, and I want to see how he adapts, because is he going to be used as a defender, or is he going to be used just as a utility player, which I think would work out for LAFC.
Yeah, I actually liked the position that he was playing. I liked how he would come up towards the middle and then also fall back when he needed to. For me, I would prefer him in that position as opposed to up top. That's just for myself. Because, he was making good runs on the outside that I felt confident with, and then it left Rossi and Vela there and sort of opened things up.
Yeah, no, it did. Back, give us your thoughts on Edwards and the type of game he had, and also the lineup.
Yeah, I liked how he came in the game before at the end there to provide some life for our defense. Actually, in the defensive side, he came back a lot and started marking on the Real Salt Lake game and solidified and got us that win. I thought he was a good sub, and probably earned his starting position right there during those 15-20 minutes. And Hawaii's right. He kind of added a new layer to the defensive positioning of the midfield, because again, even though he's listed as a defensive guy there on the lineup, I had a really tough time putting him as part of our defense. And that's ultimately what I saw from him. A guy that was running from box to box and getting on the right challenges and opening up spaces from some of the other guys that we saw in some of the previous games, having to be a little bit more concerned with defense and also, just not having that third attacker and that third person in order to free up space. Corey Baird being the person that left the lineup tends to be more static, more of the person that sits in the box. And when he's asked to come out and do what Edwards is doing, which is, say, play a more defensive role or come back, go toward the flanks so your wingers can do what they do, you end up with holes. And we saw those holes being exploited a lot, in previous games. So in my opinion, what he does is complete our defensive effort when we have two wingers that can do what they're been currently doing, because that combination exposed us, a little bit too much, and Bob knew that, and that was the way that Edwards was the way that he kind of chose to fix it, and he's been doing that really, really well. Now, is he going to be an offensive power for us? I don't know.
I think it's yet to be seen, but yeah, no, I think whatever he's able to do on the field, I think what he's doing now, right? And then obviously if you get more pieces that we're going to talk about, how that may change, or this could potentially elevate Edwards to stay in that lineup and be really impactful. Because I don't think if you're LAFC, I think it's just the cherry on top if he gives you something on the offensive side. But I think if he's able to do what he did against Austin moving forward, it's going to start to it's going to start to make this is really going to be able to impact the team. So I want to talk about Sifu, Jose Cifuentes. The guy keeps scoring goals. He keeps doing things that I think he should have been the starting line. I've been saying since the start of the year he should have been starter. I know Bob has gone a different way, but obviously Mark Anthony Kaye's with the Gold Cup, so obviously he was going to start no matter what. What are your thoughts on Jose Cifuentes so far?
Great performance. I believe he's a top scorer from LAFC. Very impressed by the way he plays, not only as a striker, but also willing to tackle those goals. And the fact that Mark Anthony Kaye is at the Gold Cup with Canada is a good chance for him to earn a spot at the starting 11. And so far, and I'm not saying so far this game, so far throughout the season, he has been doing a great job. Not as a third man with Rossi and Vela, who we know are the owners of the striker position, but as a helper who can also participate in scoring. It has been amazing. We'll see if these type of performances bring him back with the Ecuadorian national team. That will be interesting to find out.
Yeah, and I got to go his goal here, so I'm gonna play the goal, and then Hawaii, I want your thoughts on him. Let me pull this up.
Otra vez la presión alta por parte de los Black and Gold. En cortito tiene que salir Stuber, la equivocó, la tiene Kim Un-Wan para Carlos Vela, devolución, pégale Kim, no la falló, el contrarremate y el gol. ¡Gol! Por parte del Black and Gold. Aparece Sifu, nuestro líder goleador.
Qué gran equivocación de Brad Stuber, ¿no? Ya lo decíamos que la presión que estaba haciendo el LAFC le estaba funcionando y Stuber no lee el juego, ¿no? En lugar de saltar la línea, quiere jugar y muy bien Kim Un-Wan, ¿no? Que se anticipa, recupera el balón.
Obviously, it's in Spanish, but I mean, I had to throw some Spanish in. I just feel like the game being called in Spanish just brings a little bit more flavor to it. So, Hawaii,
I put it in Spanish on ESPN Plus for some reason. So I did not know what they were saying, but I was like, "Yes, dude, yes.
I know what goal means, so let's do it."
No, but I love that goal. I mean, first of all, I'm a huge Moon-Wan fan, right? So to see him and the way that Vela are linking up, for me, is a big deal of why LAFC are doing so well. the pass from Moon to Vela and then Vela back to him and he takes a shot. You see his face and he's literally like, I can't believe I missed it. But the beautiful thing is that Sifu is making all the right runs, right? So it seems like he's almost like, I've used it to call, he's almost like he's a poacher in a way. He's always in the right position, and he has the most goals on our team right now because he's always in the right position for that rebound to score that goal. And I think that's something that we've been lacking. So for me, I love that goal. The chemistry of the team is looking like it's there, and that's something that we've been complaining about from game 1 to 9. But the chemistry is starting to get there, and it's just nice seeing Sifu in the places that he needs to be. And it's just, for me, it puts a smile on my face. I love it.
Yeah, no, looks good. I think I'm looking here in the stats, and he has 4 goals and 1 assist, is what I'm seeing there. So obviously he's leading the team.
And under him is Baird with 3, right? So he's leading our team with goal. I know that's not a lot.
Didn't he score the first goal of the season?
Say that again?
Yeah, he did score the first goal. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's starting things off right. Back in black. Give me your thoughts on Sifu.
So yeah, I was looking up here the advanced stats that I put together for him on the game. He had 19 presses. This means he pressed the opponent 19 times. He was targeted 48 times. He had 53 carries. All right, and he had 93 progressive yards. I can tell you it's a lot. Comparably speaking, it's almost an entire field. He progressed the ball towards the goal. That was number 1 on the team by a lot. That is the twist of numbers, right? We need someone to do the twist and a twist roll, bring that ball up, and he was doing that. He was everywhere. Now, the role that we're accustomed to see him well at is that top of the box role where he gets the ball and rips it, and I love it. I think that's the perfect position for him, and this is where I advocate we do not need a center forward because we have Cifuentes, and he can play. Sifu can play CF. And
that's controversial. I know you know that.
Well, listen, it's a carousel in the midfield.
No, give it to us. Educate us, though. Educate us, because I like your take. Educate us.
Yeah, we got our numbers man right here.
Yeah, educate us, because
I'll tell you some real facts here now.
There's no wrong take in this show. I think you just got to elaborate a little bit more on that, because a lot of people have been saying that. I mean, look, a lot of people have been saying that, but I want to know your thoughts, because you make a great point on Sifu, but just elaborate a little bit more.
Well, I believe that it's a reflection of our current roster and what Bob Bradley has noticed, that he may not have 3 quality offensive guys to run the system that he wants. But what he does have, it's now a system that he can run wingers and a guy that is at the top of the box that can run again from one end to the other and provide valuable, valuable momentum to your midfield. Forward and now with your flankers, right? With guys like Moonwan, Farfan has been doing a great job on the other side, and that triangle with Farfan has worked really, really well with Cifuentes to provide some offensive power. So again, I'm excited to see where he goes. I think he's the piece of the puzzle that nobody's thinking about. It took him about 10, 15 games to get comfortable. He's an Ecuadorian. He's in a new place. He wasn't happy with his role. But when he's played right, he provides that third offensive power to us without us having to run 3 offensive players, which they all ends up like jumbo on top of each other, and then there's not enough space. So the wingers, you have now 2 wingers, 2 guys up front, and the dude right in the middle, and he seems to be right at the right place. And I believe it's because opponents are just not used to having LAFC run that kind of style. And he's just falling into places that nobody's used to having played people. That goal, by the way, what was it? It was our wingers, Moonwan, coming very, very far, pressing, right, which he's been doing really, really well, and opening up space, and then all of a sudden the play developed. But it started with our wingers having the flexibility to mark up and not act like right and not like fullbacks. They were like close to our box, marking our goalkeeper. And that can only accomplish with Cifuentes in the lineup. It cannot happen with Mark Anthony Kaye. It can't.
No, I'm with you. And to your point, I really like your point, and I agree with everything you're saying. If they play on that with the 3-5-2 or 5-3, whatever you want to call it, that works. But when the only caveat to that, if you go over to the 4-3-3, that's where LAFC tends to get stagnant. I think they could use obviously a number 9 on that role, but I like that they're finally playing a different formation because everybody's been calling for it. Everybody's, I know I've been talking to so many fans, but everything you said on the 3-5-2, it really works. But he has to be able to. Bob Bradley has to start him because he hasn't started him over Mark Anthony Kaye. I think that's going to be the interesting question when Mark Anthony Kaye does come back. But I want to get to you, Jose, and then we'll get to you, Hawaii. Give me your thoughts on Kim Moon-Wan because he has looked good. He's been amazing these last couple of games, and obviously that was obviously a mistake by Austin FC keeper, but he had that shot, and Hawaii just said he was frustrated that he didn't score that goal.
Yeah, it was a big mistake, but Kim Moon-Wan was at the right place at the right time. I'm impressed of the way he incorporates himself on the offense. He already scored 1 goal against Kansas, so that proves how good he has done. I mean, I have a fascination of this type of players, not like that. I mean, there's a long distance of level, but like the Roberto Carlos, Dani Alves, Carvajal in France, you have Pavard, like this defensive wingers that have the facility to incorporate to the attack. Kim Moon-Wan has that ability, and it's been impressive. When he came, I remember that there were a lot of questions if he was like a marketing incorporation because of the huge Korean community that LA has. But I mean, maybe he's that, but he has proven in the field that he has the level not only to be in LAFC, but to be at the starting lineup.
Yeah, no, and I think it's been very impressive. Look, I'm gonna be honest. When I first saw him, I only saw 30 minutes, and he gave 2 passes that led to that. It was a preseason game. I didn't know about his injuries. I didn't know none of the. You know how the team doesn't say much, but he didn't look good, and it wasn't. And I didn't feel like judging him off 30 minutes because I was like, it's hard to judge a player off of 30 minutes. But now I'm glad that everybody's been able to see why Kim Moon-Wan was brought here, because I know there was a lot of questions like, hey, was this potentially a marketing player or whatever, because he never got in the field, but now we're seeing him flourish, and I think he is, to your point, Black, he's another player that benefits from that 3-5-2.
He does.
Jose Cifuentes and Kim Moon-Wan, because I think on the 4-3-3, that's where Kim Moon-Wan could be exposed. But Hawaii, give me your thoughts on Kim Moon-Wan.
Well, he's one of my favorite players. I remember when we got him, I kept on hearing, oh, man, it's just to sell jerseys. And then you go and watch his tape, and you're like, no, dude, if he does this, he's going to be dangerous in the MLS, And, we have a Spaces chat, and we talk about this quite a bit, about it almost feels like Moon has forced Bob's hand to go to that 3-5-2. And I know that's probably not really the case, but because Moon and Farfan worked so well on the sides, Edward the last game against Austin, but it's hard to put him in the back and not let him come up and be free. And when he's free like that, you see how much more Vela and Rossi are opened up because people are drawn to them because the kid is amazing. His passes are on point. He has great footwork. He's fast. And when you hear Bob tell him to do something, it's done. Like it's incredible to watch this kid. And, when he first came here, we were all worried about because he was hurt. And we're like, okay, is this another situation that we got a hurt player that we aren't going to see? Because that's definitely been part of what LAFC does. But when he left to go to Korea, he started for their national team, came back and was in fit form. And he proved to everyone, I'm here to play ball. He wanted to come here and play in LA. He has other Korean national team teammates that said, hey, look, if you're going to go play in MLS, play for LAFC. And we're lucky to have Kim Moon-Wan.
Yeah, I mean, he's flourishing, and I like what he's doing.
I'm a huge advocate for this kid, man. I'm telling you, he's amazing.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like what he's doing the job, and he's definitely taking advantage of the opportunity, because I think the question that I had is, how is he going to start over Tristan Blackton? Because my mindset is like, if they play the 4-3-3, you only got one right back, right? But this 3-5-2, it opens it up, and it make those possibilities. You see Kim Moon-Wan flourish. You see Jose Cifuentes flourish. Right. Before we move on, back and back, do you have any stats on Kim Moon-Wan?
For this game, I did. I actually just recently came up with, what's impressive about him is that every game, everybody's getting more and more comfortable with him, and his usage rate is climbing up. So, like, if you go to my Twitter, back in black_LA, you see some of the graphs that I put about him, that he's sort of becoming the go-to. The ball has to go through him, and he's now in that category where he's basically 100 plays a game, 100 touches a game, whether he's receiving the ball, passing the ball, or carrying the ball. And that is something, someone that just got here, became a starter not very long ago, and is now touching the ball as much as a Tuesta, as much as some of these guys that have been with this system for as long as he has. And it translates into offensive power, shot creation, which is something that we were lacking tremendously when Carlos Vela and he wasn't on the lineup. He adds life to Vela. He has been a spark to Vela, and I really believe that those guys are going to do more and more together. The RSL, they had the little heel flick, together. Like, so that side is developing, and he's becoming like the Vela buddy. And I love to see where that's going. On the other side is Farfan, Cifuentes, and Edwards. It's that trio, and that trio is working really, really well. And Hawaii and I have had Twitter conversations about that. Right. I sit really, really close to Farfan, and I love watching him come up and play. That wing role. He's getting more and more comfortable with it. We do not talk about how much Farfan adds to our defensive effort. We do not talk about how valuable he is to Rob Bradley's success. In these last few games.
No, I'm with you on that. And then JP in the chat said Vela said he expected a lot from Moon after his second game. Vela saw his talent long before we did. Yes, he's on the pitch with them every day, so I would expect he would know that. But yeah,
but I love that interview with him talking about how they're building that chemistry, and it was just cool to hear Vela actually mention him. You know what I mean? Like, out of everybody else, he was like, "Oh yeah, me and." Are starting to really. I know
he doesn't even speak English or Spanish. I don't think he speaks Spanish. He just speaks.
So a cool story about that. Did you see the article where they said that he doesn't speak, so he has an interpreter?
Yeah.
But the cool thing is that the interpreter will try to make him say or what they have said to him first, and if he doesn't get it, then he'll say it and have him repeat it. So It's really cool because I don't know if you follow him on Instagram, but him and Sifu have a great relationship. They sort of always are photobombing each other's photos, and it's like really awesome to see their chemistry that them two have also.
No, that's amazing. Yeah. As long as you speak football, you're good, man. There's no problem with that. I also want to talk about Tomas Romero. This guy, third string quarterback, pretty much quarterback for this team right now. third string goalkeeper. Who would have thought? Obviously what happened with Vermeer. It was a surprise. Pablo Cisnegas, he made team of the week alongside with Eddie Segura. Josue, give me your thoughts on Tomas Romero, because it's been a complete surprise.
It was a surprise for himself too. He said it at the press conference the other day, but he has been there for the task. With Dallas, he wasn't tested a lot. With Sporting Kansas City, the result was not on LAFC's favor. However, the last two games against RSL and Austin. Well, not in that season, he was not very tested, but when there were some deliveries from Austin FC, he was very good on the air. So it's been impressive. I don't know the reason behind Pablo's absence and Tomas Romero's presence at the starting line. It's hard to find a reason, but he has been impressive. I remember asking Bob, or I don't know if me or you did at the press conferences, what were Bob's thoughts on Pablo. And one of the things I remember about saying that he needed better performance on balls in the air. And Tomas Romero has shown that he has that quality. So, yeah. Let's see if this midweek games, or like I said, I cannot give you a reason why that switch from Pablo to Tomas was. But let's see how.
Oh, I can.
Yeah.
After these 4 games, it's pretty clear. But But I'll let you finish your thought.
No. Yeah, that was basically it. Like, I before the Tomas' performances, I didn't know why he was switched from Pablo, but now I can tell why. He has been really solid and secure.
Yeah, because I mean, when they first picked him up, I was like, okay, Tomas Romero. I was like, I don't think this guy like is the guy because he had Vermeer and obviously Pablo Cisnega. It was a little interesting, but now seeing the difference, and I went to go back and look at the highlights of this game against Austin FC. You see how he moves within the box so much more quicker. He's not as big as Pablo Cisnegas, but he can move and he can fly. Like he is very quick on his feet. So I do see the difference. The only thing that I will say, he hasn't faced a Seattle. He hasn't faced an LA Galaxy. I mean, Sporting Kansas City. But I want to see how he does, and I don't think it's going to change necessarily. But I think those are the tests, right? But everything I've seen so far from Tomas Romero in these 4 games, he has 3 clean sheets. Hawaii, what are your thoughts?
So at first I was shocked, right? So within our spaces, we sort of were going off about it because it feels like Bob has a goalkeeper and then makes their confidence go straight down because he's constantly rotating, and that makes a goalkeeper question what their position, where they're, if they are the starter or not. And we weren't happy with it. We lost some games, but it didn't seem like it was really a goalkeeper's problem, but I will say this: having the kid in, he is definitely our starter now. He's made great saves. He's made saves that I don't think not one of our goalkeepers could have made at any other years, including Miller on that. He's hungry, and he commands back there. For such a young kid, he demands for what he wants from the defense, and he's constantly yelling at him. He's constantly putting them in positions and telling them where they're not right, and that's something that you want to see from your goalkeeper. Now our only problem is once he does get scored on, because it's going to happen. No goalkeeper is not ever going to go through a season without getting scored on. Does Bob try to take him out and then mess with his confidence? And that's something that I think us supporters, and especially within our Spaces group, would not be happy with. This kid deserves to have the starting position, and we should roll with him for the rest of the year.
Yeah, no, you bring up a great point because I know I recall talking with Pablo and Kenneth Premier. It's like when going the back and forth. I think everybody hopes it doesn't go back and forth, even if Tomas Romero has a bad game, because I think you don't want what's happened since the start of the franchise with LAFC with these goalkeepers is going the back and forth. And I think, look, you just got to ride with Tomas Romero. At least I would, because I mean he's looking like the better option in these 4 games. But that's all what we have to see, because that will come down to Bob, and he at times can make changes that don't necessarily make sense to us, but for whatever reason they make sense to him. But I think
every time he would take Vermeer out and then put him back in and then it's like you always seen them being like, okay, I got the position, and then they feel like it gets ripped away. And it's just the strangest thing. They need to be confident back there, right? That's the one position that you got to make sure that player is the most confident out of any of them.
Yeah, no, I would not be surprised if Pablo's confidence has been, shot. Not like his career is over or anything, but it's shot with him and Bob, with him and the team. Because at this point, if he's not the starter, then he's just looked at as a backup, which is unfortunate. And I don't think he looks at himself that way. And I think this could, I don't want to get too ahead, but this could be the last season with Pablo, because if Tomas Romero is the guy, then for me, I don't know Pablo, unless Pablo is okay with being a backup. But back in black, yeah,
he won't be back.
Yeah, back in black. Give me your thoughts and give us some stats.
Well, this is a contract year for Pablo Cisnegas, so I have a feeling that he will not be back. That is, he wants to play for another MLS team. There will be offers for him out there, and he could probably fight for a starting role in another roster. I do not believe he will play for Los Angeles anymore. I think we have a new starter. He's a star. And, it doesn't surprise me that we had a goalkeeper change. I started looking at the data for Cisnega, and, the argument was always like it wasn't his fault. But anytime he had an opportunity to show that he was worthy, the ball went through him. So he never showed that he was doing more than the absolute minimum to keep his job, and that's what Bob Bradley saw. Through the time that he was in goalie, and I'm going to read you some stats, his defense had only allowed 24 shots. 24. First in the league. First in MLS, okay? Shots allowed. Saves. We were 25th, tied for last, okay? So we allowed the fewer number of shots, and yet we had the lowest number. You know what I mean? The data was just not there for him.
Gotcha.
Now I was like, okay, well, it must be that the shots are so close that it's indefensible for him to defend, right? But no, it's average. If you can actually see of all the shots on goal, what is the average? And he's right down the middle, 50%, perfect bell shape, right? So it's not that the shots were harder, and the X goal tells you that. What is X goal? Expected goal. He's trending exactly where the expected goal is. He's doing the expected. Now, if you're Murillo, if you're Segura, you're like, dude, stop this one. God damn it. 14 shots.
Yeah.
This is the one, right? This is the one that you have to stop, and he has it, right? Now, what happened the 20th minutes against Austin? Bam. Fireworks. Here comes Tomas Romero. That was a goal against Cisniega. And I'll stop it there because it was. Yeah. His X goal is green. That means that all the shots are coming in, and he's doing things that the computer doesn't believe that a human can do, right? Mm-hmm. It's winning the computer battle. At the end of the day, you have a really good defense. Probably look back and say, okay, we don't have the confidence on this guy, right? And here comes an 18-year-old, and he's doing a little bit more that was expected of him. And all of a sudden, the team flourished, and we have 3 out of 4 clean sheets. And a game that he probably should have won at Kansas City, right? Mm-hmm. He should have won that game. Now, I can tell you this. He's going to get scored this weekend. He's already
I like that. And I believe he's 20 years old. But, yeah, I mean, 2 years difference.
Sorry, you're right.
I mean, he's still young.
Yeah, the Georgetown years. Yeah.
Yeah, he's still young, but he looks amazing. And I think another thing, was it you, Josue? I don't know who asked him this in the press call, because he could have gone and played for he could have gone and played in the Gold Cup, and he would not have had this opportunity if he decided to go play for El Salvador. So I don't know what conversations he and Bob Bradley and the coaching staff might have had, because I think they saw this coming, because the game he started was a must win for LAFC and Bob Bradley, because let's put it, he was on the hot seat. If he didn't win against FC Dallas at home, then the cookie starts to crumble. Then it gets everything starts to rush, right? And I think I was surprised that he went with Tomas Romero, and that told me everything. I was like, he's never trusted Pablo Cisnegas. He's never, because when you put the players that are going to win this game for you, and Tomas Romero was the first guy I know he put down. He's like, hey, I'm gonna ride my horses, and this is going to be the guy. So I'm just looking at, like, hey, like I said it before, he is the guy moving forward, and I like the stats that you brought up, because those are some stats that make sense to me, and I think they make sense to a lot of people. I know a lot of people within the LAFC community try to bring up some stats, and at times those stats may be confusing, or may not tell the whole story. But I think this tells the whole story on Pablo Cisnega. Josue, give me your thoughts on Tomas Romero.
Yeah. The fact that he didn't call himself to the Salvadoran national team was kind of surprising. It wasn't that, right? So, will he have had more chances with the LAFC with the Salvadoran national team? I don't know what the goalkeeper position looks like with El Salvador. So he took advantage of this position, and he has responded. The stats that were brought earlier show that pretty well. And this league, like I said before in this show, like, this league receives a lot of criticism because of the level of its goalkeeper. So having a good one will bring LAFC to another level. So it is impressive the way he has responded, and especially in a young age. Like, for example, going back to Euro Cup, there is a lot of questions.
So I think we're losing you. You're cutting out, in and out. I think we may need you to speak up a little bit more.
Okay, can you hear me?
There we go. Because it keeps cutting out.
Okay, yeah. Like I was saying, Tomas is such a young guy, and he has responded pretty well. And going back to the Euro Cup final, the penalties, 2 of the guys that missed were 19 years old. Saka, and I don't remember like the other guy, but the fact that he has responded so well in this young age, it's really impressive. And this MLS league is pretty criticized because of the level of its goalkeeper. So having a good one will bring LAFC to another level. It will shine even more. It will be more notable than in other leagues. So yeah, Tomas has been impressive.
Yeah, no, he's definitely been impressive. Another player I want to talk about. We got to talk about the MLS Player of the Year. Who else? Diego Rossi. I mean, the guy had an impressive year. He's being linked to teams all across Europe, right? This I'm assuming could be, if not is, his final year with LAFC. He posted this on his Instagram. Obviously, he's very excited. Won the ESPYs award. Hawaii, give me your thoughts on your boy Diego Rossi.
Diego Rossi. Yeah. So, he's earned it. He came here to Los Angeles. No one knew anything about him. Sort of the same type for Moon. You had to look at his highlights and figure out who this kid was. He puts his head down. He plays hard. He never complains. And you can never question his heart. And for me, a person that appreciates a player that respects the badge, loves Los Angeles, loves the team, his teammates, and just playing football is something that I appreciate. So I became a huge fan of Diego Rossi, and no matter where he goes, I said I'm a Serie A fan, but he's been linked to different Serie A. I'm gonna watch those matches, Premier League, I'm a Chelsea, but if he goes to Everton or if he goes to Tottenham, I'm watching the matches because I'm a Diego Rossi fan. And if anyone deserved this, it was Diego Rossi. No question.
Yeah, I didn't think there could be another player that had such a great year, such an impressive year they did last year. So, hats off for him to winning that. Back in Black, what are your thoughts on Rossi? Yeah,
no, he was the rod last year that kept everything going, and we had a lot of turmoil, Vela sitting out, everything that we could not want to happen to our team happened, and he was just strong and kept it going. So kudos to him. He deserves it. I'm not surprised if we've seen the last of Rossi or like very few games left. I'm waiting for a transfer to happen pretty much imminently at this point. And, again, he's earned it. People come to MLS to springboard into another league. It is what it is. I'm so happy to see some of the Brazilian youth coming in, guys like Brenner, and the fella in New York as well, that Gil that just came in. Those guys are the future of the league if they hit. And this is based on Diego Rossi's success. The teams are looking for geographies to explore and to become partners with, and find who the next Diego Rossi is going to be. And I'm excited to see what's next for him and who else we're gonna bring out of the youth nucleus in South America, which I grew up seeing, and who's gonna be the next Diego Rossi for LAFC.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, and I think I'm with you. I think it's gonna happen sooner than later. He could be playing his final games. I know if LAFC fans don't want to hear that, but he's definitely earned it. I know it's been a slow start for him this year and LAFC, but I think we're gonna have to see within these next couple of weeks, because there's a lot of moving pieces, and if he does leave within these next couple of weeks, that could change a lot of things for LAFC. But to your point, he's earned it. Whether it's now, whether it's in the year, I don't think any fan would necessarily argue. Obviously, it's a bittersweet feeling, right? You don't want him to go, but at the same time, you want him to go because that's where he needs. That's the next step is Europe, and then even Carlos Vela has talked about it. Getting him to the next level. The next level is Europe. So, and it's good, and it's exciting teams that are interested in him, and we get to see how much this league is really growing.
For us, I'm going to say that this is important for LAFC, to show, hey, people can come in here and get developed and go out. This is what are going to keep us competitive and bringing these guys in.
Yeah, no, and that makes sense, because it's like then you build up what I think it was Spurs. I forgot the other teams. Then you have that bridge connection now. That like, hey, we can essentially feed you players for the future. You can trust us, and if Rossi has success to wherever he goes, it's just gonna be a trickle down effect of what LAFC has done so far. But I think that's the next step in their process, and I think it's very exciting, because I think we're all on the same page that he can definitely have an impactful role wherever he goes in Europe. Jose, what are your thoughts on Diego Rossi?
His numbers are impressive. I believe he has 46 goals with LAFC, and those goals are with him. He's not a number 9. So he's a striker, but he's not a number 9. So the fact that he has that many goals speaks so well about him. The way he moves on the area, the way he places himself at the right place at the right time. last season when Vela was gone, he took the principal role and took the team on his back. So he deserves everything that is going on with him, except the fact that he was not called to the Uruguayan national team. He doesn't deserve that at all.
That was
But,
weird. I could not.
But yeah, it's amazing. And I used to cover the Premier League 5 or 6 years ago at my beginnings as a journalism, and I remember like Tottenham, Everton, they were teams that will be like not even a Europa League, like here and there on the mid-table, but right now they're very competitive teams. So I can only imagine a duo between Diego Rossi and James. That will be fun to watch.
Yeah.
So yeah, Diego is amazing, and I don't think there is any LAFC fan that has any complaints about Diego.
Yeah, no, I mean, no complaints about Diego. Obviously, we'll have to see. I don't think the Uruguayan national team really values MLS because I mean, they could have used a player like Diego, but I'm not on the team. I don't follow the national team as much as that. But like hopefully once he goes to Europe, he gets that call up to his national team. But there is another. LAFC has three Uruguayan players, and they have another controversial player. We got to talk about Brian Rodriguez. It looks like he's coming back. So I want to get your thoughts on how you feel because I need to put this up. He posted on his Instagram. So an LAFC fan reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, have you looked at Brian Rodriguez Instagram?" I was like, "No, I haven't." So he posted. If you guys can see here. That he is in Los Angeles. He posted that LAFC. So he completely changed his bio because I know he had been taking pictures of him, on a horse. He had been doing, he's been very active. I got to show this one. This is amazing.
With the sheep.
Yeah, there's a little, I know, what is it, goat or sheep? I don't
nice
know what
horse,
it is.
I want one.
Letting people know that he's still in Uruguay. So I was like, okay, I mean, is an ongoing saga still going to continue? I mean, if this man does something, if he continues to do, if he turns it around and does something amazing, I feel like an LAFC fan has to frame this on their bedroom or something because, it is quite the picture. So I was laughing when I saw this. I was like, no way. I was like, he's either like giving the middle finger to LAFC or he just doesn't care what's going on when I saw this photo. But today he surprised me, and I think he surprised a lot of fans. Hawaii, give me your thoughts on Brian Rodriguez, how you feel. And obviously him coming back.
So about that picture real fast, if he comes in and does something great, Live has to put that on his screenshot for over a year. So that'll be amazing to see. But, about Brian is, where do I start? Like we had high hopes for this kid. And we wanted him to come here and sort of be the next Diego, right? And it just isn't there. His head isn't. He doesn't want to play in the MLS. So he forced his hand to go, and he went to a second division and couldn't be on the pitch there. Goes to Uruguay, gets in trouble. It never touched the pitch, and then he should be back here in LA, and he's riding a horse with a goat, a sheep, whatever the hell it is. It's just ridiculous, man. But if he comes here, I want him to do well. I want him to show his quality. I want him to do good enough so he can be sold to where he wants to be, and then LAFC isn't out of the money. So it's all these different emotions because at first you're like, no, dude, I don't want him there. Like, he don't want to be here. If he doesn't respect the badge, he doesn't like LA, don't come. Don't be here. But then when you find out, okay, well, he's stuck. All right, well, then come. We'll have to accept him. He's on our team. But, this whole go getting his hair cut and showing that he's still in Uruguay and then riding the horse, it just makes us as supporters be like, man, it's sort of a slap in the face. Good news today that he showed that he's here. It says LA, so that's great. And I'm hopeful that he comes here with a clean head and one of his, manager, agent, mom, dad, I don't care who it is, best friend says, look, this is your opportunity. You have to show people what you can do and prove it like Diego has and look at his opportunities to leave and go to Europe. And that will be you next. That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. Back in black, I got to get your thoughts. You're Brazilian. you know how it is down in South America. And I've said this since I didn't think Brian Rodriguez, before he left, was a talented player. And he has speed, he has all these different things, but I've never felt like he impacted the game the way I grew up seeing Brazilian players, the way I grew up seeing Uruguayan players. And I never saw that from him. And then I think everything trickled down with Almeria. Obviously, him wanting to go back to Peñarol not wanting him, not even playing in the Copa America. I don't even correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even think he touched the pitch, right?
Not once.
Not once, right? And he's doing things like this. You being from Brazil, what are your thoughts on this whole situation?
Well, as a Brazilian, I think that someone made a huge mistake in assessing the caliber of this player and paying what they paid for such a youth raw talent. I think that was an issue there where they thought they were getting one kind of player and they got something else. So I know what you're talking about, where the flair is there and the dribbles are there and the excitement is there and the forward and I'm going to put my head down.
But that is as far as it goes.
Shots for myself. It is there, and the numbers do show. He led the team in shot creation, except that he took those shots, and he's like Ben Simmons of MLS. Man, he cannot get it in. Like, it's out.
He said the Ben Simmons of MLS. Wow, that is.
I mean, it was like he created the shot. It was like amazing, and then like Brian, pass the ball, buddy. So I think that he has the right idea, but it got in his head. He knows he's good. He knows he's quick. He knows he's gorgeous guy, he's got tattoos. By the way, Bryce Duke was looking for a tattoo artist yesterday, so I put that 2 and 2 together that he got the idea from someone else. But I think Brian Rodriguez is raw talent, and he got here again. These guys have to be given more than 6 months at 17. If you ask me what I was doing at 17 years old, my head was in a gutter, right? It was not there. So, and I didn't have the money, the talent, and anything that this guy had. LA in all of a sudden. So we have to be able to just rein this guy in, put him in his horse, right? And say, look, this is your last chance. You already, your value just went like that. And we don't have any suitors for you. And now you have to win a battle back in order to make yourself into a player again.
Yeah, no, and LAFC Kui is in the chat. He says greetings. I'm not trying to fall asleep. He shared an article which was in Spanish. Kui, if you're here, I think he was missing practice. He wasn't going to the practices, and that's why he wasn't getting called up. I think when he was
the U23s.
Yep.
So he was already a head case then. He's in our spaces, and he tells us all the time, to be honest, the scout over there sort of missed this. He's been a problem since before he was a professional. Mm-hmm. So this is really on the front office and the scouting. They should have caught this way before.
Especially when you spend essentially $11.5, almost $12 million. Yeah, they really missed it. And I said that. Look,
one more thing. Can I say one more thing? Is also Uruguay has shared with us. Diego Rossi's mom is she deals with all their heads, right? She helps them settle down and talks to them. And she talked with Brian for a while. And when he first got here, and we thought everybody thought, oh, this has worked, and he's getting out of his head, and he's becoming a better person, and then he does the stuff that he does. So obviously, it didn't work.
Yeah, and I think being able to cover a lot of different sports here in LA and being around a lot of athletes, he reminds me of a certain athlete that I all know who played baseball. He had all the raw talent, he had all that, but he just didn't put the work in, right? What I mean by staying late after practice, working out outside of practice, making football literally your life, right? Because when you're at a pro, everybody is already as good as you. But what separates you is what you do outside. What you do outside. Because you're right, Back in Black, his pure talent got him to where he's at. But I think it got him to where he's at his whole life. But now he's in a stage that everybody's as fast as him, everybody's as good as him. The only way to separate yourself is to put in the actual work outside the field. And I don't sense that, right? I don't say, practice on your shooting, practice on this, practice putting the extra effort. The raw talent is there. No, I'm not going to question that, but it's just the effort outside of that is what he's really missing. And I think you can clearly say that the focus of where he's at and everything. But I want to get into before I get to you, Josue. I want to get into some people here in the chat. He says LAFC Live says it'll be my profile pick if he scores. He's like, I ain't taking it back. I like that. CeeLo says if we win against Carson, that's our profile pick. Katie, who is always amazing, says my feelings for B-Rod is that if he can provide assists and give us something, I won't complain. He can. Fair enough. Driving the horse. Danny says he needed to be humble. He said, I need this article. I'll tweet that out. I think LAFC cool shared that. He said, Yasiel Puig. You're pretty close.
Right there.
No,
that's
but
a good example right there.
Puig was traded to Cincinnati, by the way.
Yeah. So it was the funny thing about that. He's friends with Yasiel Puig, but that's all I'm gonna say. And I know Yasiel Puig and stuff, but I mean that's all I need to say. But I don't want to compare him necessarily because I don't know Brian Rodriguez like that. Like I knew these other athletes, but it's just the sense that I get. But like, look on the positive side, because we got to look at the positive side. He can come and be humble because he didn't want to come back here, right? He never vocally said he wanted to come back here. He talked about Peñarol. He wanted to maybe stay over there, but now the reality has set in that he's coming back to LA. But this is his second opportunity, and I'm gonna look forward to what he does because because already seeing what he did, I think now he needs to change the fans' perspective because there's some people that are gonna want to bring him back. That's totally fine, but there's other fans that are still salty about the way he left. Josue, what are your thoughts?
First of all, horses scare me, but that's another story. And Brian Rodriguez remind me of the Mexican national team somehow. On the last 6-7 World Cups, Mexico has been in the best 16 teams of the world. But occasionally, we tend to believe that we are Brazil, that we're Uruguay, that we are Germany, that we're France, but we're not at that level yet. We are Mexico. We are a good team that in the World Cup finishing an average position. I think that Brian Rodriguez believes that he's Messi, he's Cavani, he's Neymar, but he is not. And that belief that he might have on his head affects his attitude and the way he performs, not only on the field, but outside the field. The opposite example of missing training is Hugo Sanchez. He will come 1 hour before training and he will stay 1 hour after training, practice. And that's how he won 5 golden boots with the Real Madrid. With the national team was another story, but giving that extra, and he's, according to what you guys share right now, he's not even giving the minimum, But these first 7 months for him, soccer-wise, have been tough. With Almeria, not a lot of minutes. A bit with a teammate, with the Uruguayan national team, he didn't play a single minute. Maybe going through that punishment, that rough situation will make him change his mind. Hopefully that challenge, that difficulty can affect his mentality, as Bob says a lot in the press conferences, the mentality that he has. That difficult situation will change his attitude toward the team because the talent is there, but the attitude needs to change. And hopefully that can make a change, if that makes sense.
The attitude, the mentality. Hawaii, how do you feel fans are going to receive Brian Rodriguez after what's happened?
So, so yesterday we had our spaces and a lot of people were mixed in it. A lot of people are like, yo, we're going to boo him every time, and then there's other ones that are like, no, we got to be behind him. If his head isn't here, we've got to back him and let him know that we want him here. So it's a mixed bag, and everybody has a right of opinion of how they feel about it. We all follow other clubs besides that are in MLS. And if this happened over in Europe, it would be a different story, he would have been shipped out a long time ago. And no matter what, and it's one of them types of situations where people feel like he's done them dirty. And by posting the pictures, they feel like it's a real slap in the face to the club. But on the other hand, it is true. We shouldn't boo him because we want this kid to have the best mindset and to show his quality. And because we do want him to be moved, and we don't need LAFC to lose all that money, so it's torn, and for me, I feel like everybody has their rights to it. And I've been on that fence too, like I said, at first I'm like, no way. And then when we knew that he was coming back, it was like, okay, we'll come back. And then you see the pictures and you're like, no way. Now he's here and you're like, okay, come back. So it's just the emotions that he has put us through as a fan.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna be optimistic, but if my man's riding a horse with the baby goat, to me, it's like I don't give a.
Hey, he can go to Sunset Ranch and ride horses there, bro.
Yeah,
up there.
Yeah, look, to me, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think like if I'm LAFC, if I'm Carlos Vela, if I'm Diego Rossi, we're here to win a championship. You know what I'm saying?
So that is something we talked about. How is the locker room going to feel about this?
I think it's mixed, without a doubt. Look, I 100%, because like, look, Carlos Vela is not very vocal, but Carlos Vela is the best player, in my opinion. Carlos Vela, when he is healthy, in my opinion, he's the best player in the league.
Yeah, for sure.
But like, what conversations? Look, is it when you're a pro, it's a different situation. It's not like when you're in high school or college. It's like, hey, when you're making money and stuff like that, Vela is not the guy to be like, hey, Brian, come over here and talk. Or Brian maybe just doing his own thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they've already spent like a year and a half with each other, or however long he was there. He left. He did everything he did. But I think Vela probably understands to an extent because of Bob Bradley. And I think Brian Rodriguez and Bob Bradley is the first relationship that's going to have to be paired up, because if he's this wild, just imagine how many times Bob Bradley and Brian Rodriguez got into it in practice. I without knowing can assume it was probably a lot. You know what I'm saying? He's called them out a couple of times. So it's like Brian Rodriguez is not going to do what Bob Bradley has not done what Bob Bradley has wanted him to do. But I know a lot of stuff has happened with. This is just me speculating. So I know a lot of stuff has happened in practice because the way he left. You know what I'm saying? The way he left and how he went. That I mean, just being around this, you see that like, hey, that relationship's it hasn't been good. So that's the first relationship that has to be fixed. Bob Bradley doesn't. I'm assuming he speaks a little bit of Spanish, but it's not like they can have like a very I don't know what's the word? I don't know if it's intimate or they can have a good conversation, but Bob Bradley's not going to be like, he's not there like.
He's not going to be talking story with it.
Yeah, it's like my way with the highway. He's like, hey, come here, Brian. Let me come here. Like, have this coffee with me.
It has to affect some of the people in the locker room. Like the blessings, right? The blessings that work their butts off every single day, that make a little bit of money, and then you have this kid that's making millions of dollars that don't want to show up and is sort of doing his own thing, and it's like, bro. Like I just have a feeling that it might be a little shaky with some of the players, and look, they have that right though. You know what I mean? Like we're here every day, we're busting our butts. You're riding a horse. Like
Bradley has no issues in benching him and riding him at the bench and put millions of dollars in that bench and letting it ride like he did with the other Uruguayan, the roster. We didn't talk about the other Uruguayan roster, which has made a lot of money for us, and it continues to sit. Free Hinella.
Yeah. No, but back in black, give me free Pancho. I'm with you. Back in black, give me your thoughts. How do you think the fans are going to receive him?
Yeah, I think there's two questions to be answered. Like, one, is he really coming back to stay, or is he putting that up because he did enough to like burn all his bridges? And if he does stay, what role will he play with the roster? And I think that's going to be determined after the Diego Rossi situation gets fully resolved. So if he does end up having a substantial role in the team, meaning that these two things actually happen, I think he can plug and play. You'd rather have Raheem Edwards or him out there as that third attacker. I think he can add things to our offense that we've been lacking. Shot creation was an issue before we started finding the net. We're no longer the team that scores 3-4 goals a game. We're relying on defense to win. So, hey, you know what? Come back, play up, and if you don't, sit there by Pancho because he loves the bench. He makes a lot of money, so it really doesn't matter.
But the thing is that you make great points, but that's the thing is that you're going to start right away. What about all these other players that start right away?
I think he's going to earn it. It's going to be really, really hard.
But there's so many things going on there because he's a DP player, right? The only way to bring up his value, because he shot his value down, is by playing him. But it's like, right, like right now, I don't think anybody feels like, okay, yeah, this guy's gonna win me a game. You gotta get him back in the mix. I want to get to a comment from a good Juan says, what was it? He said, "I'm a boo." He says, "I'm a boo that fool." But then hug him if he scores or assists.
Yeah, that's
That's a
my
fan
point.
mentality right there.
I love the honesty.
That's exactly what I think. You know what's gonna happen if he scores a hat trick or he gets 3 assists in the first game? Like
Everybody will love him.
Yeah, like
I mean,
everything else will be
perspective
behind.
changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Go ahead, Hawaii.
No, go ahead.
No,
Yeah.
I was just gonna get to a couple comments. Danny says he's good for assist at the very least.
Yeah.
CeeLo says I'd rather have him and Cal over B-Rod. He says B-Rod to the lights. LAFC Kui, who's in Uruguay and lives in Uruguay. He says Opoku over Brian.
That's right. That's
I definitely
right.
agree.
Yeah,
He's
going to take time away from some of this youth that is here, is hungry. Opoku is hungry. He's going to get back. Like, you're going to eat time away from some of these guys to try to recover this train wreck, right? To try to like make some money on the face value. I do not believe this team is this decision making is driven by the financial situation. They have too much money right now.
Hold on, $11.5 million.
Yeah, but look at
right now, LAFC is holding the bag on Brian Rodriguez, and it's a heavy bag. It's a heavy bag.
It's a heavy bag, no doubt about it.
It's a heavy, but like, look, if they don't sell him, I think they're gonna sell him, but like, I've said this before, if you're John Thornton, you sell him for $10 million, $1.5 million. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to lose on this deal. And that's why I think for both parties, I wanted him to stay with Almeria. It didn't happen, but I think I thought LAFC was going to be able to break even, but I feel like now it's gotten harder for the time being, but it can change if Brian is willing to change.
With what Black said is true. Bob don't care about the money. I mean, I know he's
no, of course not. He has to win games.
He said Horta with the whole year and didn't care at all. So we'll sit a DP. Brian does need to come in and earn that place. And honestly, the best thing for Brian is that Rossi does get sold, and then Brian can slot into that spot that Rossi was there. And then even for LAFC, that we can still run that 3-5-2, or Bob calls it the 3-4-1-2, whatever. We'll still be able to run that with Moon and Farfan. That actually would be the best option for Brian. But if Rossi stays, then he's on the bench.
Yeah. No, I think that's the no, LAFC is not broke. They're not broke. I'm just saying, what I was saying is, like, if they sell Brian for any less than $11.5 million, they're losing money. So, and I'm with you. I think the best situation that could happen is if they sell Diego Rossi before Brian Rodriguez, make whatever they're going to make, and then maybe they can offset it. That's one way LAFC can offset that loss, because right now it's really looking like a loss. The slim chance that I have to say this, there is a slim chance, very, very slim chance that Brian comes back and completely changes his perspective. But from what he's posting on his Instagram, it doesn't give me that belief, because I just don't see it, because players that are locked in, players that are focused, players that want to win championships, I get a different perspective, and I'm not necessarily seeing that from Brian Rodriguez right now. But I could be wrong, and we could see what happens. But guys, we've gone over an hour. Okay. Danny brings up a great point. He says, "Talk Dio." Hawaii, how do you feel about Dio?
It was posted today that Dio is actually on a free. He would be free if he did come to LAFC. It's weird for me, man. Like, this is the thing. I feel like Dio left, and he didn't want to be with the club. He wanted to be closer to his mom, and now he's in China, and he sees that maybe it isn't as good as what he thought, so he wants to come back to LA. And if he's free, I'm open to it. But if we're paying him $500,000 like a Janela, I'm not with it. that 500,000 needs to go elsewhere. Unlike Black, I do think maybe we still do need a 9, just in case or whatever, because I'm on the fence with it because I like the formation that we're running now. But if we do go back to the 4-3-3, we do need it, and I want a veteran. I want someone seasoned. So like for me, I would like to spend the money there. I'm not saying it has to be DP money, but spend some money on this person that we're bringing in. But look, Dio did a lot for us. I like the way Dio played. I always mention Dio as more of like a poacher. He sort of does what Sifu has been doing. He's always was in the right place at the right time for us. So I like Dio. I just don't want us to spend a lot of money on him.
Yeah, I think that's the sense I get. Back before I get to you, Jose, what are your thoughts on LAFC potentially getting Dio back?
On the positive side, he's a player that already knows the club. He knows his teammates. He knows Bob. So the adaptation process might be easier. He scored a lot of goals. I remember the first time he scored, it was in a cup game back in 2019. So those are the positive with Dio. But there is some reason why he left, and he's one more addition of those really strange LAFC players living with Dio. I remember still the Walker Zimmerman situation, So we'll see, And the sense of rematch, I cannot think of any negative points of bringing Dio back. Maybe the money fact, but yeah, I think it will be a good option, and you don't risk a lot because our guy already knows where he's playing.
Yeah, I think that
he does get hurt a lot.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think people remember. He did have some injury situations. Juan says I can dust off my Dio jersey from 2020. Hey, look, there's lots of positives there. Back in Black, what are your thoughts on Dio?
Yeah, I think he wins personality. Everybody likes him because he's Mr. Personality, and unfortunately, I do believe his time with the club has sort of passed, and he had a mistimed a not so good time in China. Seems like he was there for like 4 months and it didn't work out. Again, we have all these youth here that is screaming for playing time, and bringing a deal only takes us away from knowing whether these guys are worthy of a roster spot or not. So I rather give Cal Jennings and company some time and figure out whether we want to keep these dudes or not, versus bring another person to play like what Wright Phillips played last season. Have this mercenary role, if you may. And I think Hawaii is the one that brought it up, right? That comes in, score goals, and leaves. I think it's time we spend some time in our academy and continue to develop our youth. That's the beef that I have with bringing, again, this mercenaries, and I'm using it in a very specific way, the word, but I much rather invest in our youth and continue to do and become an academy to be reckoned with. And I think our academy, the jury's still out what's going to happen with it. And I'm hoping that the Vegas partnership really is what brings us to the top. We're not there yet, academy wise.
Opoku.
Yeah, Opoku.
That connection with the African countries is really important for us. I love it. We brought Mamadou Fall. Blessing is there. These clusters, these geographical clusters, are really important for the club, especially when you talk about youth. Bringing veterans may not be our game right now.
And that was a huge risk sending him to the lights. Huge to the lights.
Yeah. Well, what I was gonna say, you may bring up a good point about bringing up players within the academy. This is not Dio. I know he was already been here, but the players that they've brought in so far has been nothing but youth players, right? I forget how old Dio is, but it doesn't necessarily fit what they're going with, because they didn't bring back Bradley Wright Phillips, who I thought would have been a great option, and they've gone with all these younger guys, with Baird, Cal Jennings, right? So I think wherever it came from the fans, I hope it's very organic that it came from the fans, because it just kind of came out of nowhere. But it just doesn't necessarily fit the mold for LAFC, because they don't go for that veteran type of player. Granted, this is a player that's familiar with the system, that knows Bob Bradley, who played with Bob Bradley, I believe before LAFC. So obviously there's that familiarity. So I'm with you, Juan. If it makes sense, if it doesn't cost too much money or anything like that, yeah, you can bring them. But at the same time, the other side to that, their youth. There's so many youth talent. So we'll go through these last comments here, and then we'll wrap things up.
You gotta think BWP he wanted $1 million. That's crazy.
I mean, you got to get the bag when you're at that age.
But you can't pay him $1 million.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't have paid him $1 million. I probably would have paid him a lot less. I probably would have paid him more than Pancho Ginella for sure. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing, though. I'm glad you brought up the point because I'll let you because they were paying Kenneth Vermeer $900,000. So if you can pay Kenneth Vermeer $900,000, I could justify paying Bradley White Phillips $1 million.
The money that they got from Zimmerman went to Vermeer.
Yeah,
which is ridiculous. That was a horrible investment.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna have to pay Romero, by the way. That contract's coming up at the end of the year. Good luck with that.
They better lock it up now.
Lock it up, because that thing is gonna get expensive.
I don't know how to say your name. I know you're in the
we call him Psalm.
He says we already know that Moose and Bear are not ready though. V for Vital says Cal Jennings and Moose are slept on in my opinion. Jennings is definitely someone who deserves more time. Jennings for sure needs more minutes. So yeah, there are a lot of great points. There's a lot of pieces that LAFC has and that could potentially develop. Jose, what were we gonna say?
No, I was gonna say that I want Pancho Ginella's job, like earning $500,000 million for sitting on the bench, man.
He's always smiling. You notice that?
He's never having a bad day. He's never.
He gets to hang out with his best friend.
He's not a bad player.
And he gets to make $500,000.
Doesn't have to sit on the bus to Vegas because he's too expensive. Doesn't go to Vegas. He probably take a plane, but still.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And some free Pancho. Yeah, I mean, he did get in last game, so we'll see what happens moving forward. Guys, we've gone over an hour 20. I mean, the conversation has been great. So don't want to take any more of your time. LAFC Hawaii, let the people know where they can follow you and what time and date they can listen to the spaces.
So LAFC _Hawaii is what you can find me on Twitter. And then we do a spaces 1 hour before every match. To talk about the formation and the lineup and everything. And then every Monday at 4:00 LA time, we just talk about all LAFC. If it's Brian, if it's the team, if it's the good, bad, that's what we talk about it. And Back is in our group. He's our numbers guy. It's a good time.
Yeah, Back in Black, let the people know where they can follow you.
Yeah, Instagram and Twitter. On Instagram, I try to put some of the infographics that I've created for the team, whether it's in the performance or following some of our games. I like to put Vegas data in there as well to understand what betting
over under
over unders and things, because Vegas is very honest and you can get a sense of what's going to happen in the game. But yeah, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and I always try to bring some data-driven commentary, and try to stay away from the emotions. But it's hard, we're fans, so it gets all mixed up.
Of course. Well, so let the people know where they can follow you.
Please follow me. You can see my work in English at Area Sports Network, both in Twitter and Instagram, and in Spanish, Twitter and Instagram at JosueLH686.
Well, that's going to wrap up the show, guys. And for you guys, those of you guys listening, join us every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. We're talking LAFC. We're talking Black and Gold. We're talking, obviously with these diehard fans, which have a lot of information to provide and, even bring me some knowledge, which I enjoy. Mm-hmm. Definitely check out the spaces. It's a Mondays at 4 p.m. Pacific time. So definitely check it out if you want your voice to be heard. So for Hawaii, for Back in Black, and for Josue, this is Gio. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.